lot longer, but I know you have. I know I've already spoken about it a lot, so I
No,
guess
that's
you can
fine. I
take
mean,
it.
it's an inexhaustible topic. Literally, if we
Yeah,
had 10 hours, you could talk about it and not run out of things to say about all the there's a
absolutely.
new one every day, isn't there? Just about.
Yeah,
Like
I
today
mean,
you're tweeting about something called social. What is that? It's on your that's your latest Twitter
um,
utterance there.
it's. I think it manages. The thing about this is that it was a private beta. I signed up for it. I don't know, 3, 4 months ago, and I signed up for these things knowing what they are. I think it helps you manage your contacts. But then, you don't hear from them for months. And then they invite you to the service, but everybody forgets about it. So, I'm kind of rolling my eyes at that. I'm just like, I don't really know what it is. But, the thing that it was an issue of contention and why I tweeted about it today was that, I logged in for the first time. They invited me. I signed up with my invite code. And the first thing they asked me was, how much would you pay for the service if you could pay for the service using the, In Rainbow's idea that Radiohead tried? And I'm thinking to myself, I don't really remember what this service has to offer to me. I don't know what benefits it has. I'm not paying anything. So I said immediately, like I sat there and I was like, what kind of like I thought it was a little socially awkward of a question. I mean, I understand that they're looking to make money, but they probably should build their a loyal user base first. So, especially because I don't even remember what it has to tell, like what it is. So the first thing immediately after that, I emailed and I'm like, how am I supposed to know this? There's no way I'm going to answer this question in a way that'll benefit you if you're not going to benefit me. I mean, I literally had been on the site for 10 seconds and that was my question. I didn't remember what the site was. I needed my memory to be refreshed. Unfortunately, I don't think they thought about it that way. And so I have no idea what the site is yet.
Well, they're
So
comparing themselves on their blog to Mobile Me, and I don't even know what Mobile Me is yet because I know I got I'm switching over the new iPhone software and all that, but my Mobile Me hasn't even kicked in yet, so I don't even know what that is, and they're comparing themselves to that here.
yeah, this is my phone.
Okay.
It is not an iPhone.
that
So I
that
don't
was
really
my
know.
next question. I was going to ask you to show us all your tech gadgets and tell us about your
Uh,
hardware environment.
well, my hardware environment. Yeah, I don't really know what Mobile Me. Back to that, I don't know what Mobile Me is, and I can't really tell. Like, I honestly have to look at Social and to see what benefits that'll have for me and if at all I'll be using it. But with regards to my gadgets, I'm sitting on a laptop right now on my couch. You see, this is my little maroon background. I mean, this is my desk, literally. I mean, my lap is my desk. I like it. It's really nice. I have a number of little gadgets connected to my laptop via USB. So I have my Trio with my connection right there. Um, and I have an iPod Touch, but I don't have an iPhone. And I think it just unplugs. But um, I'm not. I love gadgets. I'm not buying every single gadget in the world. I'm not buying the iPhone because I don't want to switch to AT&T. But I like the benefits of what it has. So it is iPhone 2.0 or iPod Touch 2.0. And I mean, I'm taking a look at it now. I mean, I really don't use this for so much the applications. I pretty much use it for the Wi-Fi and the music, especially during my longer type of commutes. Um, but these are my trusty gadgets. I mean, everybody says you should incorporate just go like this and put your palm together with your iPhone, and it'll eventually be an iPalm or something like that. I, I love the Palm OS, and unfortunately, it's losing favor in the eyes of a lot of people, and they're just moving on to either Windows Mobile or the iPhone type of software. It's something that I'm gonna have to get used to. But yeah, in terms of gadgets, I mean, that's what I take with me. I have I don't even know where it is, but I have a small Canon PowerShot SD 1000 that I use for photos, and sometimes if I want to, and it's hard because it's such a schlep to take with me. I have a Nikon DSLR, a D200. But I used to dabble in photography a lot more than I have a chance to lately. So that gadget sort of sits on a shelf in a cabinet, which is very sad. But one day I want to bring myself up to that level of Brian Solis, who takes those great photos for Bubblicious, and start at it again. But that's really it in terms of the gadgets I rely on. I mean, I don't even think the Nikon it fits within that category anymore.
Have you? Well, let me ask one more thing. What kind of PC do you have multiple PCs?
Oh yeah, I should have told you that. All right, let's see. I'm sitting in my apartment right now. I have a one-bedroom apartment, and I have, between my husband and me, but mostly me, my husband owns 3 computers. He has a desktop and a laptop, or maybe 2 computers that he uses primarily. I have 2 desktops, a Linux machine for like server administration. I like to play with, to learn to build up those skills, especially for system administration. So I have a Linux machine, and I have like a little web server running off of that. I have a Windows machine for, sort of my media center. It has, I don't know, a couple terabytes of data, so I just throw stuff on there. I store my photos and my media on there. I have the laptop that I'm sitting on right now. And I can't show that to you because the camera will lose its connection. But I have that. It's a 17-inch Dell. And I have a smaller laptop that I use almost as religiously because it's in a cooler bedroom. It's in the cooler bedroom. It's a Dell 700M 12-inch, which I take to conferences and has photos, like pictures of my Web 2.0 software that or blogs that I'm really addicted to on the back of that. And I have a MacBook. I have another laptop that I use for testing Lifehacker software for the most part. It was my old laptop, and I kind of moved on from there because it sort of just kind of became obsolete over time. And I have a MacBook Air, which is still in a box. I won it in a contest, and I'm waiting to learn the Mac, but I haven't really had time. So, yeah.
Well, good. And now you live in a dense city. Have you been to Austin, Texas?
I have, for South by Southwest, actually.
How would you compare life in Austin, Texas to life where you are in New York, in the Bronx?
All right. Well, let's talk about New York City, not where I live, because I live in a very interesting part of New York City. I mean, I look out my window and I see the New Jersey and the Hudson River. I live in a very suburban part of the Bronx. It's called Riverdale, and anybody who's actually been here knows that it's sort of like it's not the Bronx. I mean, it's a beautiful place. The houses here are not cheap at all, but I don't live in a house, and fortunately, at that, I don't know. One day. But to compare, the density of New York City to Austin, it's hard to compare. I mean, I've only been there for a week during South by Southwest, so I mean, I might have experienced it during a completely different time with all these tourists walking around and these film geeks and interactive geeks, because that's what South by Southwest caters to. It's definitely it's a little scary. It's not as crowded. And in a way, that's a little scary because, you see some interesting people walking down the street in Austin, and you're like, will they come chase me to my hotel? And, I kind of felt that, at nights, especially when you're walking from those parties, and, there's a lot of drunk people coming from parties, too. So, I mean, I'm not saying, I'm afraid of Austin, but I'm saying that, my unfamiliarity with the area is a little different. But, when you're in New York City, walking around in the city at night, because there's so many people, it's not as frightening. Then again, if anything happened to you, I don't think anybody would do anything. So, there's those different things. I mean, I love New York City because there's just so much available to me within walking distance. Where I live, not so much, but New York City definitely is that. And I mean, Austin, I would assume you definitely need a car. In New York City, you don't. Those are the things. Where I am, I have to take a car. I have to take a bus to take a subway to get into Manhattan. I actually have to walk a quarter of a mile to get to the bus. I mean, it's definitely more suburban than the New York City you're envisioning in your head. But they're different areas, and from that perspective, I love New York City, and I don't think I could, I love visiting Austin for South by Southwest, but it's great that it's during the March, because I couldn't go there in the summer. I grew up in Florida, so knowing the humidity and all that stuff,